Sarah and David grew up together. And they grew up and up and up and up until finally they were so grown up the two of them decided to get married. And Sarah was so excited because more than anything she could not wait to make her first challah for her new husband. And so when the first Friday came, all day long she kneaded the dough and she braided the challah and she put it in the oven. And they waited. And soon the smell filled the home. She was so excited. She set up everything else, and it was finally time to make the blessing and the challah. And they each took a bite. The challah, it was terrible. It was salty. It was soggy. It was awful. Oh, I don't know what happened. I didn't put any salt in the recipe, but it tastes wet and so salty. David had an idea. He said, don't worry. You know why? Because my grandmother, she makes the best challah ever. I'll tell you what, next Shabbat, I'll make the challah. And so, when Friday came, all day long, he kneaded the dough, and he braided the challah, and he put it in the oven, and they waited. And soon the smell filled the room. And finally, it was time to make the blessing on the challah, and they each took a bite. It was terrible. It was salty. It was awful. They didn't know what to do. Then they had an idea. On Monday, they went over to the rabbi. The rabbi listened. And the rabbi listened. I got it. You do? I do. I'll tell you what. Don't you fear, because my Bubby, she makes the best challah ever. And I happen to have learned her very recipe. So I will come over next Shabbat and I will make the challah myself. The rabbi making the challah, what could go wrong? They were so excited. And so on Friday, they watched him carefully, and indeed the rabbi kneaded that dough, and he braided the challah, and he put it in the oven, and they waited. And soon the smell filled the room. It was going to be perfect. Well, finally, it came time to make the blessing on challah, and each of them took a bite. What were they going to do? But that's when the rabbi came up with an idea. He said, next Friday, I will come here just the same. And let's see if we could figure this out. The next Friday, the rabbi came over again. And once again, they made that challah and they put it in the oven, got everything ready. They even put the challah out. And after everything was all set up, the rabbi said, and he took them right around the corner, and they hid behind the curtain and just watched. And they watched, and that's when they saw it. The challah, it was crying. Sarah called out, "Challah, challah, why are you crying?" "Well, you see, when I look around the table, everything else you make isn't such a beautiful plate, and even the wine gets such a beautiful kiddish cup. But me, I'm all alone, and I don't get anything pretty, just an empty plate." Sarah immediately understood why the challah had been so salty and so soggy. And she also knew just what to do. As soon as Shabbat ended, she began to embroider a beautiful challah cover. And the next Shabbat, when she set the table, she made not just one challah, but two. She set the table beautifully, and she covered them with a beautiful challah cover. And when it was time to say the blessings on the wine, and then eventually on the challah, they lifted the cover, said the blessing, and then each broke off a piece and took a bite. It was delicious. And so it is that to this day, we always cover the challah. And we always try to make two challahs so that the two of them will be warm, cozy, beautiful, happy, and tasty every single Shabbat.